Hi, good evening there. My name's Albert. It's nice to see you. It really is. My life is a really interesting thing that I am experiencing. I'm not unalived yet, so far as I know. I could be like that kid from The Sixth Sense who thinks Bruce Willis is alive. Or is it Bruce Willis who thinks he's alive? I'm not really sure, honestly. Haven't seen that movie in a fresh minute. I was gonna watch it the other night, and then I decided that it's 2024, and movies made in the 90s are cultish but still kind of borderline cringe in that the 90s still really didn't get it right. The 2000s did a little better. The 2010s, there was a little progress. The pandemic happened, and now we're right back in 1993. Anyways, I hope that you guys are doing very well. Link in the description below to the video I want to talk about, which is does woke equal misery, and why statistically people that are socially aware of their surroundings are more likely to be depressed than people who are sociopaths and know there's stuff going on but don't care about it, or are psychopaths and are rooting for the downfall of all of us here on the planet so that they can benefit from it. I'm not really, I just know that being more liberal or being a socialist or being a social capitalist for me, I know that it does mean having to address tough questions in a way that still allows you to keep that sanity and not become a socio or psychopath. And that is difficult to do because arguably those are defense mechanisms that protect one's psychological development from the upending truth of the world, in that we all, most of us, most of the people on this planet have a terrible experience in life. And for those of us that have a relatively good one, even that encounter first world problems and global superpower number one problems, you feel me? Like, it's an impactful thing for every single American. I'm speaking for all of us because it is. It truly is. In any one of those categories that you fall in, the indifferent category, the stupid category, the ignorance is bliss category, the openly hateful category, the open to no discussion of what is right and wrong category. It is depressing knowing the truth. This is a human construct, and it's a tough one to break because only things like humor can truly address the kinds of atrocities that occur here, with all of us knowing about it and just in some small way allowing it to happen, even if that's just because we're so stuck up in our own lives, when in fact American citizens can make a real big difference on the world over. But our government does a lovely job of making sure that we're all busy at work, working jobs that will never get us anywhere, and trapping us in debt, sending us to school, putting us in debt, sending us to places where we get degrees, and then no opportunity to ever pay that loan back or take the lifetime of our lifespan to take back and pay. And if in that time there's anything unfortunate that befalls upon ourselves, then quite often it's been reported that the people that are alive are left with student loan debt still. So it is all that's really depressing. And a way to combat that depressing reality is to highlight and talk about it. That's the first step. I think the next logical step is to try and to aim above and use humor as a way to not only as a self-defense mechanism, but as a way to recognize and understand that other people can also recognize and understand tragedy through humor. And that oftentimes the best comedies are tragic. This is Shakespearean, and it's life. as it concerns what is happening right now. What's cool is that if we're alive and we want to make a difference in the world, we can. Nobody's stopping us. And while it may seem like there are a ton of things stopping us, it might seem like that. There's countries all over the world that I don't worry about because, as it concerns the world, I am a citizen of the country that is arguably in charge of it. And as somebody who is a constituent, who is a stakeholder, who is a shareholder, who is within the system, this is in fact the only way that it can change. And it's tough because in order to change something so evil and corrupt, you have to take it head on. And that's easier said than done because evil didn't just amass all that power as a result of poor decision making. They, in fact, are responsible and control through ways that have been learned from times that required extreme measures to shut down growth or to stop collaboration or to use war for economic gain instead of our brains. Just as much as we can go beef with anyone all over and anywhere in the world, we can also use our brains to solve problems. It's very abstract, I understand, and I'm not trying to get all pseudoscience on everyone with spiritual talk, but we are capable of making our own thoughts and making our own decisions. And I really just feel like American citizens carry a huge, huge weight on their shoulder as it concerns the fact that there isn't even a 500 million people here in the country. We enjoy some of the most space that any country in the world does as it concerns per capita population and things like this. There are so many luxurious things about our country. And while our country has its many faults, it also is the best thing that's ever happened to this world so far as I'm concerned. And in order to keep it that way, we have to talk about the things that we've done. We must be held accountable for our actions. And that doesn't mean the disinvolvement or the disillusionment. It doesn't mean the tearing down of governments. That doesn't mean anarchy. That doesn't mean January 6th, let's become treasonous people by committing treasonous acts against our own government. Look around you. If you're a United States citizen, you're on the team. We're on the same team. And people out there need our help just so much as people in our country need our help. And I feel like once we can help our own selves with the things that we can be privileged enough to give ourselves, like UBI, like national health care, like student loan forgiveness, then we give ourselves a better opportunity to be helpful global sovereign citizens to the other billions of people around the world that could use a helping hand. And not through crusading or propaganda of religious or secular belief, but just by being there, just by helping, just by giving a physical presence and making a phone call every once in a while. I don't know. Human relationships and human connection isn't hard. It's just we're prevented from doing it. And as a result of being prevented from doing it, we get so discouraged that it's quite often not worth it. And it's easier to just live our lives, bear our children, be stuck up in our own debt, and refuse to sort of really understand that our own problems of our own making, and if we want to solve them, we can. And when we solve them and we put all our energy into doing that, we become our best selves. And when we're our best selves, we can help other people who desperately need help. And they need more help than we sometimes like to even imagine. And that's tough because a lot of the world's problems are a direct correlation to the United States actions. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying to make the world a better place. I don't want to be a part of a country that continues to be in a place where the more truth you understand and the more that you know, the more you're punished for it by being depressed and not having a world that encompasses the very beliefs that most of us have, which are, again, things like UBI, national health care, the forgiveness of student loans, all of these very socialized programs. No one's saying take away the ability to make a buck. I'm not saying take away your incentivization to strap up those boots. But not everybody wants to do that. And we shouldn't make everybody do that. And we can afford to pay to make people not do these things. And inevitably, by paying them to not do something they don't want to do, we create real capital investment in human beings that are then given an opportunity to do something they want to do. Whether or not that's nothing or something is not up to us. But if we're born into a world where we're given all of these really cool gifts, at some point you got to recognize that we got to use them. It's like, otherwise we spend all of this time saving and hoarding and planning, and we don't ever really get to enjoy life, which by the time we get around to it is already almost over for all of us. So let's take some of those things we talked about tonight and try to be our best selves. You feel me? You feel me out there? Out there, person keeping their head above my shoulders, you feel me? I hope that you guys have a really good night. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to the next couple months. I really think that if I can manage to stay employed and do what I got to do to go to work, and continue to do these videos, regardless, phone cracked, no lenses in my frame, whatever, I'm down. And I hope that you guys have a really good night, all right? Be safe and enjoy your Friday. TGIF, baby. Bye.